Good morning, everyone. I'm a little later today. What did I do? Well, yesterday after lunch, I usually only drink coffee in the morning. That's it. But yesterday, I had this hankering for a cup of coffee right after lunch. Then I didn't do that, and then the day just flew by yesterday. It was incredibly amazing again, just how, dear me, where's the time going? Yes, just being with the children and just doing one thing after another. And yeah, it was very interesting yesterday. And I ended up drinking a cup of coffee about 4 o'clock. Yes. I was quite wide eyed when it was bedtime. Still. Sometimes it works that way. Sometimes I can drink 2 cups of coffee and I'm still going, I'm going to sleep now. Anyway, so I stayed up a little later than I usually do and got up a little later. Yes. Oh, we had so much fun yesterday. Oh my gosh. We ended up, my daughter had a bunch of meetings, so that means that we can't really turn the TV on. So I said, well, you guys, we're going to have to just do other things for right now. And yes, which we do anyway. So, but yesterday, I thought, okay, it's been a month into summer vacation. And one of the things I think is just a bit irresponsible for the parents, and that's just how I feel about it, is to let children go for 3 months and they have no give and take with any of the studying or this or that they have to continue after 3 months of not doing anything in that area. Right? So I like to kind of keep them up to date, right? Yes, and keep that going. Right? And so we have a set of multiplication table cards. And Abby's only 5, my younger granddaughter, and then the boys are 8, and my older granddaughter is 11. So of course she knows the multiplication tables. Yeah. And the boys are like, well, we haven't done that yet. You haven't gone, yeah, you have. Don't tell me that, because we did it last year. And then my younger granddaughter, of course, I have to include her somehow. So I taught her on how when you multiply something by 0, right, it's always going to be nothing. Right? You can't multiply something that's not there. So no matter how great one number is, if it involves times 0, then it's nothing. So she's really going with that one. And so we did this for a while. And the thing is that once we get going, they really get into it. Of course, I think I'm a natural born teacher and whatever. And yeah, well, look, I'm not going to degrade my talents or anything. I know what I'm capable of and what I'm worth when it comes to many different things done. And because I've seen the results. So, they get into it, and then, it's when I'm done, okay, because what? Let's keep going. So, but we do, it's better to stop when they're still interested than to keep going until they're just, okay, what more? And then we went to reading, and we're also in a reading program, okay, kind of in a library, and, or started that, and so we started reading a book. I said, okay, go and get a book. What do they bring? We were talking about something. Oh, when I really try to discourage them. When I ask a question, I said, are you guys Neanderthals or something? Don't talk to me in cave language. You know how to properly communicate. That's kind of rude to do that. When someone asks you a question or looking for an answer, that's not appropriate. And so we were at the library and my grandson picked up a book about the Neanderthals. And he said, oh, look, Rosie, now we can learn about Neanderthals. I said, oh, wait, maybe that's a good thing, right? Yes. And it's a difficult book to read. There's words in there. Hey, yeah. So he chooses that one yesterday. I said, well, let's get going. So I said, everybody's going to read. And yes, except for my younger granddaughter. She doesn't really read yet, but is very close to it to start reading as well. So I thought, oh, I'll pick another book. We'll read part of this book. This is a pretty big book. So we start. And I'm right there helping. I don't know, sound it out. We're reading a book. We're not. And they'll learn just as good with that, I'm telling you, right? Yes. And we had a great time. We really did. So we finished up that first part and learned a lot about Neanderthals, and especially, that they're from Europe. They originated in Europe. And so we're kind of looking at each other. I said, well, Rosie might have, and except for my grandson's friend, I said, you guys are all part Swiss, so, and a lot of all that was found in France, all the evidence of Neanderthals, and in Italy, kind of a little bit spread out, and Switzerland's right in between. So I said, yeah, we could have some Neanderthal blood in us, still a teeny tiny bit or something, right? Yeah, okay. Which was very intriguing to them, right? And yeah, so that was interesting. Then we went to an easier book that my younger granddaughter chose, and then she got to read as well, with me together. Yes, it was fun. Then we got into another book that was about the strangest thing in the sea. Different animals, sea animals, that are just really odd looking and and they got really into that one. So it's great. So suddenly my little granddaughter, she says, Rosie, I'm hungry. I'm going, ooh, what time is it? Before that, we were for at least an hour and a half out playing baseball. And then eventually, the rules that they have, because there's sometimes only two playing, sometimes there's four, because that's what I got here. And so you have to okay, how are they going to be able to play actually a game, right? So we have to switch things a little around, also because of the ages that they are, this and that. So finally, my grandson's friend, he says, Rosie, we want you to be the umpire. And I'm going, yeah, okay, well, I don't really understand much of that game, but I kind of know the basics. And how's this going to work where they're not constantly, yeah, you did that, now it's a strike, no, that's this, an inning, and I'm going, what? I said, hey, let's just simplify all this. So kind of change things around a little bit, which my older granddaughter, when she came and played later on, she says, oh, Rosie, what the heck are you doing? Those are not the rules. I said, yeah, but they work for as many people as they are and the ages that go with it. So played out there, then did all the little bit of educational studying and having fun with that down here. And I looked at the clock and it was 12:30. Lunch is at noon. We have a little bit of a time schedule there. And the time just flew. After that, we were back outside. They ended up watching one movie, but too much fun. There's too much other stuff to do. And the day just flew by. And then after dinner, they were all back out here again, the three, my grandchildren, and my poor grandson. There's a pipe sticking out that has never caused a problem. Last night, he somehow scraped his toe on it, the top of his toe. Oh, and the blood was flowing. It's not a very deep cut, but where it is at, the blood flows. So we had a little drama going here last night, but he's fine. Everything got bandaged up, and everybody hovered around him. of course, his sister immediately went and got the Band-Aids, and yeah. So he's fine. He slept just fine, which means, no throbbing going on or anything. So, and the funniest thing is he sits in the chair and he goes, Mom, because of course parents came down to look. Oh yeah, that's a nice little blood trail all the way into the house. Mom, is that going to get infected? She's like, no, because we're taking care of it right now. So it was very, yeah. So anyway, and then everything calmed down. Everybody's saying, okay, that looks like they're ready for bed now. Yeah. So, time flew by. Just flew by. Amazing day again. Today we're going to try and fix the saddle on one of the bikes. It's a BMX bike and it has this really slim saddle on it. Not fun to ride really when it comes down to it, unless you use it for what a BMX bike is used for. So we're going to try and switch that out. We'll see if that's going to work. So there you go. That was my day. Again, loving it, just loving every minute of it. It's a little cooler again. So, yeah. I need to set them up a soccer field too. All right. Building muscle, yes. And I noticed the difference in when I got here a month ago and how, I don't know, kids kind of seemed to be a little rusty when it came to stamina and running, and now a month later, I said that, wow, you guys really, within a short amount of time, have built more muscle, have much more stamina, last much longer, even out in the sun, as long as I make sure they're hydrated, right? Yes? That's good to see. Must be doing something right. Again. All right. So, we are in the book of Judith 7, in the second super chapter, the siege of Betulia. The campaign against Israel. Yeah, what else is new? Hey, Judith, where are you? The following day, Holofernes issued orders to his whole army and to the whole host of auxiliaries who had joined him to break camp and march on Betulia, to occupy the mountain passes, and so open a campaign against the Israelites. Oh. What have I found here? I have all kinds of things. Oh, I have a new one in here that I'm drawing. It's a gala lily, yes. Or a lily of the valley. Where'd I go with it? Still haven't fixed my Bible. I was really going to do that yesterday. Oh yeah, here it is, drawing. See? Came off my daughter's a present she was given after she had the little one just recently. All right. Ooh, that's a long one, guys. Hoo-yah. Oh, and then we finally will get to Judith. Okay. After this one. The troops broke camp that same day. The actual fighting force numbered 120,000 infantry and 12,000 cavalry, not to mention the baggage train, with the vast number of men on foot concerned with that. All right, we already know all that. Amazing on how detailed they are with that. They penetrated the valley in the neighborhood of Betulia, near the spring, and deployed on a wide front from Dothan to Balbaim, and in depth from Betulia to Kayamon, which faces Esdraelon. When the Israelites saw this horde, they were all appalled and said to each other, "Now they will lick the whole country clean. Not even the loftiest peaks, the gorges, or the hills will be able to stand the weight of them." Each man snatched up his arms. They lit beacons on their towers and spent the whole night on watch. They were ready. On the second day, Holofernes deployed his entire cavalry in sight of the Israelites in Petulia. He reconnoitered the slopes leading up to the town, located the water points, seized them, and posted pickets over them, and returned to the main body. The chieftains of the sons of Esau, all the leaders of the Moabites, and the generals of the coastal district then came to him and said, "If our master will be pleased to listen to us, his forces will not sustain a single wound." These Israelites do not rely so much on their spears as on the height of the mountains where they live, and admittedly it is not at all easy to scale these heights of theirs. This being the case, master, avoid engaging them in a pitched battle, and then you will not lose a single man. Stay in camp, keep all your troops there too, while your servants seize the spring which rises at the foot of the mountain, since that is what provides the population of Petulia with their water supply. Thirst will then force them to surrender their town. Meanwhile, we and our men will climb the nearest mountain tops and form advance posts there to prevent anyone from leaving the town. Hunger will waste them with their wives and children, and before the sword can reach them, they will already be lying in the streets outside their houses, and you will make them pay dearly for their defiance and their refusal to meet you peaceably. Peaceably. What does that mean? Misusing a word, right? It happens. Their words pleased Holofernes as well as all his officers, and he decided to do as they suggested. Now, who did that? Who went to them? The sons of Esau? That's a weird one. Accordingly, a troop of Moabites moved forward with a further 5,000 Assyrians. They penetrated the valley and seized the Israelites' water points and springs. Meanwhile, the Edomites and Ammonites went and took up positions in the highlands opposite Dothan, sending some of their men to the southeast opposite Egrebel near Chaus on the Wadi Mahmur. That's all places I don't think we read about before. The rest of the Assyrian army took up positions in the plain, covering every inch of the ground. Their tents and equipment, hi honey, made an immense encampment. So vast were their numbers. The Israelites, did you need anything?
No.
You just came out to say good morning?
Yeah.
Good morning, my darling. The Israelites called on the Lord, their God, dispirited because the enemy had surrounded them and cut all line of retreat. For 34 days, the Assyrian army, infantry, chariots, cavalrymen had them surrounded. Every water jar the inhabitants of Petulia had was empty. Their storage wells were drying up. On no day could a man drink his fill, since their water was rationed. Their little children pined away. The women and young men grew weak with thirst. They collapsed in the streets and gateways of the town. They had no strength left. Young men, women, children, the whole people thronged, clamoring around Uzziah and the chief men of the town, shouting in the presence of the assembled leaders, "May God be judge between you and us, for you have done us great harm by not suing for peace with the Assyrians. And now there is no one to help us. God has delivered us into their hands to be prostrated before them in thirst and utter helplessness. Call them in at once. Hand the whole town over to be sacked by Holofernes, men and all his army." Okay, it really amazes me on how, here again, so things are not going well, and what are they doing? Always putting the blame on someone else. So here, well, it seems like they had a good strategy, but okay, what happened about the water? Okay, well, and here they are. Well, let's just, no, here you go. You seems like you had a plan, but wasn't very well thought out, because here we are now dying of thirst. So let's just hand this over now, and just make peace with them, so we can live. Okay, well, they haven't heard that anyone that has defied Holofernes, which they have now, didn't make it. That no matter what, they were just slaughtered, all of them, including children. I can't see how a soldier can kill a child, but I guess they can. I mean, in numbers like this. But anyway, but here you go. So, do they not know? It seems like news does travel, right? And all that. And again, where is it? Well, how is God supposed to interfere in all this? Well, I guess we'll find out. But, or help them out, right? Or, okay, well, if you would have thought a bit more ahead. Also, it doesn't rain there at all. It never rains. I don't know. Right? What kind of climate is that there? At what time did they get cut off from the water? Right? So, but again, here instead of, you know what? I guess the family that prays together, stays together, and dies together. Right? There never seems to be, okay, well, what would I do if I were in that situation? I don't know. I hope that I would be steadfast enough to say, well, I either trust God, that He has the best in mind, follow the Ten Commandments, and honor that commitment and the covenant that we have with God. And maybe this is our time. No. It's surely can't be pleasant to watch your children die of thirst, right? Can't be pleasant. That must be an awful thing. After all, we should be much, but again, in the way that this is presented here, I have to say, well, but guys, you're not, regardless, if you die together, saying, no, we're not going to subject ourselves again to slavery and being taken over and oppression by some other whatever. We're going to stick with our God. We're going to just stick with that and believe it's going to work out without fighting. Just being prepared, right? And hopefully show a good defense. No, it's again not there. It's every time, same thing. But they're not going to make it either way. According to what we just read before, anybody that didn't just handed themselves over immediately got slaughtered once Holofernes and his army got to them. So either way, it's going to happen, right? Yeah. So after all, we should be much better off as their booty than we are now. You're going to be dead either way. I'm not sure what that is. So how are you going to be better off? No doubt we shall be enslaved, but at least we shall be alive and not see our little ones dying before our eyes or our wives and children perishing. And I'm amazed on how when it comes to their own lives, suddenly always the wives and the children are being mentioned, right? Yeah, okay. By heaven and earth and by our God, the Lord of our fathers, who is punishing us for our sins and the sins of our ancestors, we implore you to take this course now today. Bitter lamentations rose from the whole assembly, and they all cried loudly to the Lord God. Then Uzziah spoke to them, Take heart, brothers, let us hold out 5 days more. By then the Lord our God will take pity on us, for he will not desert us altogether. At the end of this time, if no help is forthcoming, I shall do as you have said. With that he dismissed the people to their various quarters. The men went to man the walls and towers of the town, sending the women and children home. The town was full of despondency. And that is the end of 7. There's no mutiny going on yet, though, right? So, okay, they still have water, but enough water maybe for 5 days. Okay, let's just hold. We still are okay, more or less. So let's just hold out a little longer. That's amazing. China has faith. He says, because let's just trust God a little longer. Right? And then, after that, I'll do what you want to do. But also, as I said, what's the difference between, okay, quick death by slaughter? I don't know how quick that goes. I don't know what situations they were in. So sad. And they went home. And it says let's 5 more days. Come on, let's trust God. And they all did go home. And the guys went back to man the walls, right? Yes. So things were still somewhat, sounds like, things were still going well in that area. Yeah? So that's good. That's good. That shows some solidarity among the people altogether as well. I like that. Though it's getting more and more difficult for them. So we'll just have to see. Judith. The next one says something about Judith. Finally. It's another gorgeous day here. Looks like we'll have some clouds, which is nice. Yes. That means that, we'll have more shade. We had good rain coming through. Soaked everything nicely. Yes, that's good. Oh, we had rain. Yes. Yeah. Anywho. Since it is a little later, I gotta go make some breakfast for the guys and girls. Yeah, that comes to mind again. Something I said at the end of the video yesterday. What I've found is when there are disturbances going on around us in a way that one has to say, why are things going like the way they're going? Or why are things happening around me? I said, sometimes, and it's not necessarily I more commonly deal with, help, work with just a few spirits. I mean, in the sense of helping one at a time, getting one at a time to a place where then they become more productive in spirit world. Yeah, right, yes. Yeah, that's how it is. And then every so often, it's rare. It's rare, but it is happening now. There is a cluster of spirits, many different. It's like a cluster. It's like a village, a whole village or community that is around, and that can it can create some havoc. I wonder if that's why the boys are, getting scraped up. This no, it happens anyway. This that, yeah. Oh, yeah. Baby, come, baby, come, good girl. Okay, she's coming. Come on, baby, come. Time to do your business. Good morning. In cases like that, what I found, oftentimes, most of the time, it is about a collective sin in a community. And it needs some restoring. and somehow the whole village, the whole town, the whole city got involved. And the best thing I found to start on that, because do I know exactly what? No, I'm just aware of. Okay, is to either they need forgiveness, they are hurt, they have been slaughtered, this or that, just killed in masses, like World War II with the Jews. Oh, interesting. Or they need to forgive, and they somehow weren't capable of doing that yet. That they need, either they need to be forgiven, or they need forgiveness, right? Yes. So I just do both. I do both so that I'm not missing out on anything, or trying to say, okay, I'll try one first, and I'll just do both. And I'll have to really delve into the how do I say, feeling of, on why did you all come to me? Right? And what was it exactly? Collective sin. Well, what was that collective sin? Okay, now that I'm talking about it, the one thing that comes to my mind immediately, heart to mind, is a mob. Mob mentality. And that mob mentality that suddenly a village, a town, a city had, did wrong, did harm to someone, another family, a long time ago. I don't know where they really are coming from. But I'm reading something here right now where it makes it possible to open a door in spirit world where I'm going to be aware of, oh, this is going on around me. That's what I'm reading. Right? There's a connection there that now I can work through here from the physical with the spiritual. Right? Is that interesting? That's kind of how spirit world also communicates, right? Through the Bible, right? In that way. A little hard to understand, but that's how it works. So we're talking about a whole town, towns being cut off from water, right, by the mob mentality of Holofernes and his army. And they're struggling. And either way, are they going to get slaughtered? I don't know. Seems a miracle is on the way here, right? Yes? Okay, so we have hope there. But did that work out for everyone all the time? No. Whole villages, he just went through, I don't know how many places, and just killed everyone. If there was resistance, right? Restoration is still needed, especially when it comes to collective sin, where one thinks, well, if I'm the victim and I give my life, then, well, everything's just fine. Then the other side is, well, it's their problem now. They got a great sin on their back. Right? But the thing is that when one has to, again, see the slaughter of your children, this and that, or on how they're being harmed by nothing more than someone with an ego this big, like Nebuchadnezzar, who needs to be what? God of everything on earth. Right? Yeah, just saying. And how does he do it? Then the resentment of the people who have to suffer under that, get killed under that, then live in spirit world like that. The resentment can be very great. And in order to resolve that, somehow, earth, physical existence is needed. It's a bit of a mystery on how that works, but it does. It works. So, that's part of that. So it's interesting. I'm getting into the book of Judith. I can't find Judith, but I'm finding something else where, again, and I have to say, I've not done this very many times, and usually I deal with armies, right? I learned about that through sitting at the 11th hour with veterans, yes, who were passing away. And, but not really with what I feel like now with a village, with a town that is seeking release, right? Oh, seeking release. Well, why don't they just do it on their own? Why don't just not angry anymore? This or that. Well, I don't have all the answers. I just know that when something like that comes to me in spirit, then I must have also the answer on how to resolve that. And I found that it is always about forgiving and being forgiven. To forgive and give forgiveness. Right? Yes? Yeah. Anyway, so I have to think, I want to do this right. I feel like sometimes that even in spirit world, when here in the physical, we just acknowledge their existence and their predicament, already half of the work is done. Where, oh my gosh, finally someone's listening, actually really listening on what we need, and that it has to come from the physical as well in order for it to be restored, or where restoration then can begin. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to finish up with that. Now my whole mind is all filled with, okay, or now I have to organize the job that I need to do for this particular group of spirits. Yes? Yeah. It's an amazingly rewarding job. It's a very heartbreaking job sometimes. And I feel like that one stays strong, constant, and all in one piece here on earth, for example me, if one realizes that, okay, if I take good care of myself in other ways, then I will be a very functional tool for my heavenly parent and spirit world. Yes? A very functional tool here for everyone as well. And I will be a strong tool. And then it can't be done. You don't break down mentally or psychologically or all that. You do the job. You organize the job, you get the job done, and you go, oh, see ya. Oh, looks like your village is doing good now. You guys all can go and start becoming productive in spirit world, and still a lot of work to do there too, right? Yes? Yeah. And it's interesting on how we have spiritual sight. We just do. And it's always the same as, no. But in the way that I've perceived this whole group of spirits, again, a village, a town, a community, was very just waiting. It's like all just waiting, kind of with their shoulders hunched over, their heads kind of down. And as I'm talking here, I can see movement in the group. I can see hope. Hope. So must be doing something. Must be doing something right. So I'll work on that. I'll let you know. Maybe not. Sometimes it just happens, then it's done. Next. Yes. It's great. Spiritual work is great. It works out well. Mm. May Heavenly Parent bless and protect you, embrace you with love, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.